Hello everyone, Charles Walhingford back again with another distilled aged spirit video, and this is about the levels of brandy. But it's really the levels of cognac. I say cognac in the title because it will attract more people, but it's technically brandy. Now, what I'm going to explain to you is law for cognac in France, or period, is law in France. So when I tell you these things, it must be. It has to be. In France, they take their food and drink very seriously, much like Germany. There are laws for beer in Germany. There are absolute laws for other distilled aged spirits in different places, such as America. There's actual laws when something can be called bourbon. Well, let's talk about cognac and the levels of cognac today. And I'm going to break down how things are, the levels, and also to teach you why you need to know these levels. Why is it so important? We first have VS. That is something that has been aged as an ODV of 3 years. That's when it's called a VS. I would not suggest pretty much ever drinking VS. If you're here watching these videos, you're really trying to appreciate and get into distilled aged spirits, or at least cognacs. So the first level that you're going to find out in stores is VS, and VS honestly should not be drank by anyone. If anybody drinks VS, they're only doing it honestly because they're trying to be cool, because most likely they have Hennessy. It's happened to me before, and it's a common thing where people have Hennessy and you ask them, "Oh, you have Hennessy?" "Yeah." "Which Hennessy you have?" "I don't know. It's Hennessy." Hennessy. What are you talking about?" "No, what level of Hennessy do you have?" "Because I am not drinking anything." "Oh, I don't know." Good chance they have VS, because that's what they care about. You know what they care about? Saying they have Hennessy. It's not that they care about they're drinking a quality product. Because a VS, I don't care how much money you spent on it. I don't care what brand it is. A VS should not be drank. Maybe you might cook with it. That's it. Let's go ahead and move on to VSOP. VSOP, the next level higher, that stands for Very Superior Old Pale. That's 5 years of aging. Still not enough age for me, because I don't like to drink something mixed. Drinking VSOP mixed is exactly how it should be. It should be mixed, but I don't like to drink things that are mixed. However, I want to help you out with this video, and I want to explain a couple things. And yes, have some VSOP, but mix it or cook with it. Don't drink it straight. If you really want to get the flavor, close to the flavor if you can, go with an ice cube, and that's it. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to jump a level, and we'll come back to it, but we're going to jump a level to XO. For most of you thinking, there's no other level between VSOP and XO. Oh, there is, but let's talk about XO. XO is 10 years of aging, a 10-year-old eau de vie. That is the beginning of when you should drink something straight. That's the beginning. That's when it first starts. That's when that eau de vie, that juice, that distilled aged spirit is now at a level where it is smooth enough from being in the barrel for 10 years or more. We'll talk about that too. I have to cover that too. 10 years or more. Now it is smooth enough to be drank straight. It should be drank straight with nothing else in it. I tried my best. I worked in a business where I served alcohol, and the person made me, I tried my best, made me put an ice cube in his XO cognac, and it hurt me to my core. And I probably won't ever do it again. I'll just tell him I'm not doing it. I may not be working in that place ever again, but I'm not going to do it. It is wrong. It is almost evil to put ice cube or anything in an XO cognac or any brandy that's XO level at 10 years. And that's 10 years minimum. Understand that too. It's 10 years minimum, and it's very important that I say that because we're going to talk about the other levels. 10 years minimum. A lot of very good XOs also have older eau de vie blended in. All right, let's back up a little bit, and we're going to go in between VSOP and XO. There's a level between that. That is called Napoleon. You may have seen Napoleons before. A perfect example of a Napoleon cognac or brandy is the Remy Martin 1738. The Remy Martin 1738 is a Napoleon. It's not a VSOP. It's not an XO. To be a Napoleon, it has to be at least 10 years of age, just like an XO. However, an XO is going to have more of that older brandy, older eau de vie added to it to make it a little bit nicer, a little bit better, or maybe better complexity or what have you. However, if you want to save some money and have something you can drink that has awesome flavor and is smooth enough to be drank straight, but you don't have XO money, Napoleon is the way to go. Then there's always an exception to the rule. Another very popular Napoleon, which is almost just as expensive as the XO, is the Martell Cordon Bleu. The Martell Cordon Bleu is a Napoleon. I've seen it win awards competing against other XO cognacs. So again, Napoleon is a weird thing. It's that thing in the middle. And if I'm not mistaken, Napoleon doesn't have the same laws of VSOP, and XO. So that's where we have with that. But Napoleon is a great place to really start. All right, now we have hors d'oeuvre. Hors d'oeuvre is, for the most part, because there are exceptions to the rule, but 30 years of aging. 30 years of aging minimum. I have here, I'll give you the example where this is not an hors d'oeuvre. This is actually an XO because the minimum in here is 10 years, but this has juice of 50 years. This is the Tesseron Lot 53. This actually has eau de vie of 50 years in here, but it's called an XO. Why is it called an XO? Because technically it has eau de vie of 10 years as the youngest. But hors d'oeuvre, that's really when it gets really good. For an example of hors d'oeuvre, the Hennessy Paradis. Hennessy Paradis, hors d'oeuvre. All right, let's move on to age statements. There's also age statements. Now, I'm not going to show you an age statement of a cognac. I'll show you the age statement of an Armagnac. This is Daroze, if I'm pronouncing it right, Daroze, D-A-R-R-O-Z-E. French is weird. I try my best, but regardless, this is an age statement. This is a 20-year. So this is not an XO. This is not an hors d'oeuvre, and it's not like a Napoleon XO or Napoleon hors d'oeuvre where it's somewhere in the middle. This is its own thing. It's an age statement. So everything in there is 20 years. It's not a blend. That's when it gets kind of weird or trying to understand why they would have that. That's just 20 years of age. 20 years of age. And it can be in different ages. So the age statement It's not an XO, it's not an Ordage, it's not a Napoleon, it's its own thing. Then you have vintage. Vintage. Now here's a vintage. This is another Armagnac. And you can have this in Cognac also, the vintage. Now this would be technically an XO, but the vintage year makes a difference because it's not a blend either. This is a year. All this is from 1985. You can see right there, 1985. This is a wonderful example of why you have a vintage, because they had, how do I want to put this? They had a good year. They had a really good year, and they were looking at that particular juice or eau de vie of that year, and he was like, we have to have everything from that barrel, that bottle is going to go into that bottle, and it's not going to be a blend. It's not a blend. It's from 1985. Now, the way Labatt does it, that particular, I believe, is 10 years old, XO. But that year was an exceptional year, so they decided, okay, we got to bottle this up and separate this. Now, why do you need to know all these things? Why do you need to know vintage, age statements, Ordage, Napoleon, XO, VSOP, VS? So you don't become a sucker. A lot of people have become suckers for Cognac and other alcohols. And here's a perfect example of being a sucker. Hennessy Pure White. Any person who buys Hennessy Pure White is a sucker. There's no reason to drink it. It's absolutely no reason to drink Hennessy Pure White. It is not even a VS. It is less than 3 years old, because technically to be Cognac, 2 years old is all you need. But to be VS, at VS, the lowest of the low, the level I would tell you never to drink is 3 years. 3 years, Hennessy Pure White isn't even 3 years old. It's not. It's crap. But they want you to think it's something special, especially since it's not sold in a lot of places. Especially, if I'm not mistaken, it's not sold in the US. They only sell it in where? Tourist traps. That's where they sell it. That's where they sell it. So Hennessy Pure White is something you don't want to drink, because it is the lowest of the low, and they're selling it to you like it's something special. All the while, you could buy something far more high quality than that crap. Here, let me show you what I mean. Here's a Delort. This is one of the best. This is an Armagnac. And if you don't know about Armagnac, it's unfortunately, it's sad and it sucks. Armagnac is nothing more than Cognac's older cousin that didn't advertise. That's all Armagnac honestly is. They don't advertise. They don't spend a big, huge budget on getting rappers to do commercial or advertisements, okay? That's the answer. That's the long and the short of it. Far as a quality product, if you like Cognac, Armagnac's the way you go. This is a 25-year age statement. Under $100. So that's why it's so important. Oh, one more thing I'm going to highlight. I'm going to show you another one. Ararat. Ararat, this is Armenian brandy. It's made the same way. Cognac is made with grapes. That was 20 years of age. That was just a little bit over $100. Just a little bit over $100, 20 years old. Fantastic. Better than any Hennessy Remy Martin Courvoisier. Better than any I've ever had. And I've had all of their XOs. And they all, that Ararat is less than the XO. The main thing you have to learn is know these when you see them in the stores, because a lot of the stores, they'll have one or two, and they'll be at a reasonable price, Pick them up. Trust me, you'll be happy with what you found. All right, guys, I hope this helped you out. I hope you learned a lot from this video. I hope you will go out and be smarter with your choices. I'm Charles Walhingford. The Hennessy Pure White is how I would not spend my money.